Hello everyone, I am Dr. Neha Pathak, Assistant Professor, Department of Botany, School of Basic and Applied Science, Sanskriti University, Mathura. So my topic is Integrated Pest Management. First of all, we need to know what is IPM. IPM stands for Integrated Pest Management. That means that we need to grow our crops in eco-friendly way. That means we need to use pesticides which are not chemically uh, originated. So integrated pest management, an effective and environmentally sensitive approach to pest management that relies on combination of common sense practice, which means that we need to use a different kind of organic manures, biopesticides like trichoderma, different preparations of bacteria like pseudomonas and trichoderma preparations so that we can save our crops from the harmful pesticides, because these are very harmful for our health, for our crops as well as for our environment. So IPM is basically stand for that program. We use current and comprehensive information of life cycle of pest and their interaction with the environment, how a pest can infect our crop, the season they grow, and how they infect the environment. Third, this information in combination with available pest control methods, which are also known as cultural practice and is used to manage pest damage by most economical means and with the least possible hazard to people, property and environment. So basically IBM is a sustainable approaches, which means that is not completely harmful for our crop, our health and our environment. It is managing pests through the biological, cultural, physical and chemical tools in a way that minimize the risk of community and environment. So what are the principle of IPM? Out of which first one is prevention, because we know that prevention is always better than cure. So we need to prevent our crop first, because many pests and fungal infection, bacterial infection infested all the season of our crop. So we can prevent them by the monitoring of crops, and we can use different kind of traps and pheromone traps, yellow cards for monitoring. Second is monitoring and use of advice. If we use different type of pheromone traps and cards, and we use organic manures in our crop, we can advise farmer to use different biopesticide instead of chemical pesticide, and we decide the threshold value. That means how much infection is infested in our crop by this ITL, that is intensive threshold level, for which we need to नो अबाउट कि कितना हमारे क्रॉप में इन्फेक्शन इन्फेस्टेड हो रहा है. Second, necessary level, that is reduce dose. That means if we apply fungicide to our crops and if a rain is there, that means we do not apply in within 4 to 5 days. We need to apply it its own time, that means 15 day after 15 days, and that is specific measure and performance of non-chemicals method. Non-chemicals methods like we need to use organic manures in our soil, we need to use different kind of pesticide like biopesticide, we need to use monitoring sets like pheromone traps, and we need to use all the eco-friendly equipments like organic manure, FIM, farm and manure, and avoid resistant of pest, which means that we need to use resistant variety instead of cultural practice of that regular varieties. And documentation assessment, it means that we need to use the documentation, that means what was the earlier infestation was created in that crop in earlier season, so we should not repeat that crop in the next season. So how do IPM work? IPM is not a single pest control method, rather a series of pest management which include the monitoring, prevention, preservations and cultural practice. First of all, we need to set action threshold level. For this, we need to set a action threshold, a point of which pest population and environmental condition indicate that pest control action must be taken. Second, monitoring and identify the pest. Not all insect weeds are harmful. So we need to identify which insects are useful for our crop and which are harmful our crops. This monitoring and identification remove the possibility that pesticide will be used when they are not really needed, that wrong kind of pesticide will be infested. It means our crop is really infected, then we need to use all the pesticide, and if it is 100% infested with any insect, where we need to use chemical pesticide, but if it is completely safe, then we are not used to applicable and chemical pesticides. Second is preservation, that is means rotating between different crop. If we find any nematode infection in our seeded crop, then we need to change its another crop. Like if we nematode infection we found in the brinjal, that is eggplant, we need to change it with any other like potato, cabbage, like vegetable crops. Second is selecting pest resistant varieties, that means we need to apply that resistant variety into that field so that infection would not be repeat in next season. And planting of pest free rootstock, applying organic manures. These control methods can be effective and cost effective, present lightly, not to risk people for the environment. These are the control methods we can use for the safety of crops. First, we need to host on which crop the insect is infested and in that season. Next, we need to know about the pathogen, which insect, fungus, bacteria is applicable on that crop, and next, what kind of disease is causing by that pathogen, so we can identify and treat them. This triangle is showing the how a disease can cause in a crop. First of all, they need a proper host, second proper pathogen, and third for the environment. These all are supposed to be create any kind of disease, that can be bacterial, fungal and virus disease caused by that kind of pathogen. This diagram, this photograph is, by this photographs you can identify first this fungal infection is infested on the maize crop. This is showing in the corn crop, and this is Astilego nidotritisana on a wheat crop. This is a citrus canker, which is a bacterial disease infested on a lemon. This is a bacterial disease infected on tomato, and this is a blight which infected a potato leaf. These are the viral disease, out of which you can observe that virus can curl the leaf and it is easily visible on the leaf side. And these are the insects, out of which this is the fruit fly, and these are the insect which infested on the leaf side, so you can easily identify by the observation. Next is disease management and control. So first of all, we can use these four practices. First of all, out of which crop rotation is most applicable, use of biopesticide, use of biofertilizer and use of organic farming. Organic farming, which leads to the use of organic manure first in the soil, then application of different biocontrol agents and biopesticide in the crop. These important biopesticide and biofertilizers we can use according to the infection, out of which If we can see fungal infection, we can use these Trichoderma, Aspergillus, Penicillium. These are the very effective biocontrol agents. And for the bacterial disease, we can use bacteria, that is Bacillus, Pseudomonas, and Bacillus subtilis. For viral infection, we can use NPV viral biopesticide, and for the insect infection, we can use Trichogamma. So first of all, we can discuss about the Trichoderma production, which is very useful and very easy to grow in a lab or in a chamber. For this, we need to isolate Trichoderma. We can isolate Trichoderma from the soil and from the any organism on which it is infested. Second, we need to mass production for its culturing, and then we can use this culturing mass production in a incubation. Then formulation should be prepared, and packaging and its shelf life. If you prepare the Trichoderma in a lab, you can save it for the 2 years for the cell and packaging purpose. We can use Trichoderma selective medium and PDA, that is potato dextrose agar medium, for the growing of Trichoderma in a lab. These medium can use easily grow the Trichoderma in a lab. And these are the instrument we can use in lab. First, we need to set a lab for this isolation, and these are the biofertilizer we can use to save our crops. Like for the nitrogen fixing, the rhizobacteria and azotobacter is mostly very useful. And for the phosphorus solubilizing bacteria, Bacillus subtilis pseudomonas is very useful because it solubilizes the insoluble form of phosphorus into the soil, and it is soluble by secreting organic acid and lowering soil pH to dissolve bound phosphates. Next is phosphorus mobilizing. We can use mycorrhiza, that is avascular mycorrhiza glomus species, that can transfer phosphorus from the root to the root cortex, and these are broad spectrum biofertilizer. Again, there are many potassium solubilizing and potassium mobilizing that can be found in group of bacteria, fungi, and sulfur oxide bacteria. We can use Aspergillus, Bacillus, Aspergillus niger, and Trichobacillus. These mobilize the accessible form of potassium into the soil. So basically, these are provide different kind of micronutrient to the soil and plant as well. Last, that is PGPR, plant growth promoting rhizobacteria. That means that Pseudomonas agrobacterium and Bacillus can provide the plant growth by the producing of hormones that promote the root growth and improve nutrient availability and improvement crop yield in our plant as well. These are the biofertilizer and how much they should be used in our field. For rhizobium, that is usually produce nitrogen in a field, we can use 50 to 100 kg nitrogen per hectare in a field. Second is azolla, that can be used 9.2 to 18.4 kg in a field. Agerosporidium, that is bacteria, we can use 27.6 kg nitrogen in a field. Blue green algae, that is BGA, we can use 24.8 to 29.9 kg nitrogen per hectare. And Frankia, that is fungus, we can use 8 to 89.7 kg nitrogen in a field. So these biofertilizer and their functions, they can fix nitrogen. Almost all the bacteria, out of which rhizobium is most important to save the nitrogen in the field. So rhizobium, that is symbiotic bacteria also, is useful for pea, cowpea, tree gram and black gram crops. Azotobacter, that is also bacteria that supply 20 to 40 kg nitrogen per hectare and also promote the growth of the plant, can be used for mustard, banana, sugarcane crops. Next is Azospiridium, that is also bacteria. It can fix 20 to 160 kg nitrogen per hectare and increase water and mineral uptake by the different vascular bundles. It is also important for rice, sugarcane and millets crop. Next is blue-green algae and azolla. Both are the algae and that can fix 20 to 40 kg nitrogen per hectare. It is provide the growth to the plant and increase the vitamins IAA and gibberellic acid production in a plant, and which are very useful in the rice field. Next is avascular mycorrhiza, that is symbiotic mycorrhiza that can fix and increase the root absorption and very useful for soybean, wheat crops. Next is Pseudomonas and Bacillus. These are the bacteria species. They reduce the infection in the soil as well as plant and produce the growth for the by the production of siderophore, and these are also important for our potato, radish, sugarcane crop, and these are also can apply for each and every plants because these are known as plant growth promoting rhizobacteria. So first of all, we need to know about the biofertilizer we are using and their mechanism, from the group they belongs to and on which crops we can use it. So in this table we discuss about the nitrogen fixing bacteria, that is most important, rhizobium. We can isolate from the any pulses crop in which they can available in rich forms. So the mechanism that increase soil nitrogen content by fixing atmospheric nitrogen and make it available to the plants. The group is free living bacteria. Symbiotic means they are living in the roots of plants and use the atmospheric nitrogen and fix into the field, and these are also known as associative symbiotic bacteria. So for example, Azotobacter anabina, Clostridium, Vegetcalia, Nostoc, Sternigonia and Rhodopseudomonas, out of which rhizobium is most popular for the fixing of nitrogen. Next is phosphorus solubilizing, that means bacteria that solubilize phosphorus in the soil by the insoluble form of phosphorus in the soil into the soluble forms, secreting organic acid and lowering soil pH, dissolve bound phosphate. These are also bacteria and fungi like Bacillus subtilis, Pseudomonas, Bacillus polymixa, Micrococcus, Agrobacterium, Aerobacter and Flavobacterium. Our next biofertilizer is phosphorus mobilizing and phosphorus solubilizing, that can be isolated from mycorrhiza, bacteria and fungi, for which their mechanism, how they produce soluble potassium silicates by producing organic acid that decompose silicates and help in the removal of metal ions, that is make it available to the plants. For this, Bacillus mucilaginous and Bacillus circulanscane and Arthobacter species can be used. Next is micronutrient. We can use sulfur oxidase and zinc solubility. If we can see their mechanism, they oxidize sulfur to the sulfates which are unusable by the plant, and solubilize the zinc by proton chelated ligands acidification and by the oxidoreactive systems. Uh, we can use Bacillus aspergillus, Trichobacillus and Mycorrhiza Pseudomonas to use these micronutrients in the plants. Next is plant growth promoting bacteria, that is also known as PGPR. For this, we can isolate these bacteria from Pseudomonas, Agrobacterium, Bacillus, Rhizobium, Enterobacter, Streptomyces, and Xanthomonas. Because as we know, these are plant growth promoting bacteria. That means they enhance the fertility in soil and provide growth to the plants. They by the producing hormones and that promote the root growth and improve nutrient ability and improve crop yield. So these biofertilizer means how they can produce the nitrogen and how much nitrogen and other micronutrients are important and in which form they are usable. So rhizobium is produce 50 to 100 kg nitrogen in a field, and another that is bacteria, that is algae, Azospirium, that produce 9.2 to 18.4 kg nitrogen in a field. 27.6 kg nitrogen is produced by Azospirium. Next is BGA, that is blue-green algae, produce 24.8 to 29.9 kg nitrogen in a field. And next is Frankia, which is a fungus and very useful as a biopesticide, produce 89.7 kg nitrogen in a field. So if we see the table, we can see these biofertilizer, how they function and in which crop they are applicable. First of all, we need to know rhizobium, that is symbiotic bacteria and also produce huge amount of nitrogen in a field, that is fixed 200 to 300 kg nitrogen per hectare in a year and increase yield up to 10 to 30%. Similarly, it is reported that so we can use this bacteria in our pea, pulses, legumes, cowpea, green gram, black gram, groundnut, soya bean, wheat, jowar, bajra and maize crops. Next is Acetobacter, which is also a bacteria and also produce nitrogen but less compared to rhizobium. So it supply 20 to 40 kg nitrogen per hectare in a year and promote growth substance such as vitamin, indole acetic acid, gibberellin acids and increase yield up to 10 to 50% and maintain soil fertility. So we can use this bacteria in mustard, sunflower, banana, sugarcane, grapes, papaya, watermelon crops. Next is Azospirium, that is also known as bacteria and also fix the nitrogen, that fix 20 to 160 kg nitrogen per hectare in a year and that increase water and mineral uptake and production of plant hormones and enhance the root growth, increase crop yield. We can use this bacteria in rice, sugarcane, millets, wheat, sorghum and bajra crops. Why this table is useful for us? Because we need to know which biopesticide is important for another crop. As these are plant growth promoting bacteria, so we can use all these for our crops. But if we can select certain biopesticide for the certain crops, the result would be incredible. So next is BGA, that is blue-green algae and Azula, that fix 20 to 40 kg nitrogen per hectare and promote growth substance such as vitamins, indole acetic acid and which are important in rice field. Next is avascular mycorrhiza, that is symbiotic bacteria and fungus that is also fixed 30 to 60 kg nitrogen per hectare, used as a green manure and increase root absorption by which different minerals can reach up to the apical meristem and also imported in soybean, wheat and corn crops. Next is Pseudomonas, that is bacteria and the production of pseudophore and plant hormones. They provide a huge good growth to the plant and fix phosphate, increase crop yield. These bacteria are important for our potato, radish, sugar beet crops. Next is Bacillus species, Bacillus subtilis, which is also known as bacteria that can solubilize the phosphate and fix the nitrogen in soil and synthesize the growth hormones, production of antibiotics, increase crop yield, and these bacteria is also important for many vegetable and fruit crops. So how this BGA, how this plant growth promoting bacteria, how the trichoderma work, we can say these all are plant growth promoting. So these all provide high yield to the plant, rich in nutrient, and provide good fertility to the soil. How they work? If we can see improved growth and development of plant, these factors are affecting by these PGPRs. They produce plant hormones. They improve photosynthesis process. They improve water uptake in the soil that is used by our vascular bundle and reach up to the shoot apex. Second, next is nutrient fixation. They fix all the nutrients that are measured too important for the plant growth. Next, they improve soil fertility by the production of different kind of nitrogen, other indole acetic acid and plant hormones. Next, nutrient solubility. They produce different nutrient and they make sure they are insoluble in the soil because these are important for growth of plant. And production of antibiotics. They provide different kind of antibiotics so that plant can defeat themselves against the different kind of fungi, bacteria, virus in a eco-friendly way. So these potential role of micro for biofertilizers in growth and development of plant, because these days we are using different kind of chemical pesticide which are very harmful, carcinogenic, harmful for our health, harmful for our crops, harmful our environment. So we need to use these plant growth promoting bacteria, biopesticides like trichoderma bacteria, different kind of NPV viruses to use and increase the crop yield in a eco-friendly way. Thank you so much.